Hello, my name is Shivani and this is the Curly Bookworm. Welcome! It has been a minute and I have missed doing this. I have missed saying this intro line of mine. But welcome. I am not going to disappear on you again. Hopefully not for long periods of time like this time. But life was crazy. But I'm back now. I was thinking about what I want to start with now that I have come back. And I had a bunch of ideas, but you know what? I thought I'd come back with a wrap-up simply because I love wrap-ups and it is November. It's the month of my birthday. And therefore, we will be doing what I read in November. Let's get to it. Alright, so I read 4 books this month. This one was my favorite, and so I want to start with this one. This is, let me show you, These Precious Days by Anne Patchett. I love this author and I love her fiction, so you can't imagine what I felt like going into her book of essays. I was a little bit hesitant, but she, I think, writes even better with her non-fiction. This is a collection of essays that she's written. Some of them are published and some of them weren't, so it's brand new in this book, but they are fantastic. They are so good. She's covered a range of topics, and it's told in this very, now what I realize is an Anne Patchett voice, which is a very insightful sort of, it's literally like sitting with her and having coffee and having her tell you things, which is amazing. I just love her non-fiction voice. More than anything else, I think the way she articulates her thoughts on a range of subjects, everything from knitting and quitting smoking to her 3 fathers. She has a biological father, obviously, like everybody else, and she has 2 stepfathers that she talks about. She talks about other things like what it is like, what it feels like to be child-free in today's world, and to have to explain that to people and how people, look at it. She's talked about this woman called Suki in the essay with the title These Precious Days. She talks about this woman Suki who used to be Tom Hanks's assistant and her relationship with her, and that's a wonderful essay. I mean, I wish I could pick one. I really can't, because it was really this book was so good. I started it at the beginning of the year, I think, and I finished 2/3 of it immediately, and then I realized, wait a minute, this is too good and I want to savor it. So I literally finished it this month, because I would let myself read one essay and then many weeks later read another essay. So I literally had to hold back and pull myself back, because I had to savor this. This is so good. It's a 5 on 5 without a doubt, and I will fully recommend that you read it. And if you do, come to Instagram, talk to me about it, or talk about it in the comments here, wherever, but talk to me about it, because I love it. I have literally been giving all my friends this as a gift this year, because you have to read it. It's so good. The next book that I want to talk about is this one. This is M and the Big Hoom by Jerry Pinto. This one was recommended to me by my friend Siddharth, and he swore by it. Also, it's a really pretty book. I don't know if you can look at that. Look at that brilliant orange inside page and the gilding. That's very beautiful. Call me shallow, but I have a thing for beautiful books. This book is about a woman who is dealing with mental illness, and this isn't depression or anxiety. This is psychosis. Basically, the story is narrated by a boy whose mother has this mental illness, and it's very serious. She's hospitalized several times, etc, etc. It sounds very depressing, and it is to a certain extent kind of depressing, because it's a very heavy subject, but it's also hilarious at times, because he kind of takes us through what it's like to have a mother who is amazing and fantastical and also quite literally ill, and how he misses her but also enjoys her, and he's confused by her and confounded by her. And it's really cool because it's set in Bombay, I think in the 80s. They're from a lower middle class family. There is him, whose name for some reason, I don't even know actually if they've said his name. I just can't remember it. I'm blanking. But there's the boy, and then there is his sister Susan. There is M, who is Imelda, the mother, and Hoom, that's the father, right? I think this book is kind of a memoir / autobiographical in nature. I'm not sure. I feel like I should find out, but that's what I'd heard about it. But it's a beautiful book. It is not for the faint-hearted, so there's lots of trigger warnings in terms of mental health, self-harm, all of that, but also it's a beautiful book about M and the big Hoom, who are an amazing couple, and where they come from and how they meet, and all of the, you know, eccentricities of being M or the Hoom, or the eccentricity of this family. They're from Goa, so there's all of that fun, you know, angle too. I would 100% recommend it. I think I rated it a 4.5 out of 5. I would definitely ask that you pick this up. It's a short book, so packs a punch. Do it when you have the right mindset. It's not a light read, but it's very beautifully written. Okay, so the next book that I read is something that I read on the iPad. It's called The Inheritance of Orquìdea Divina. That's what it looks like. I'm gonna put the iPad down because it's heavy, but essentially I read this on a service that used to be called Scribed. It's like a lending library. Well, no, it's like a Netflix but for books and audiobooks, ebooks and audiobooks. And I have loved it. It is, I think they've just rebranded it and they're calling it Everand. It's like a yellow logo with like an ampersand sort of symbol. If you're interested, it's about, I want to say 300 and something rupees a month. I don't want to convert that into other currencies. You guys can do it yourself if you're not Indian, but it's quite little. I'm not sure what it costs in your countries, but it's about 313 bucks or something like that a month here in India, which I think is very reasonable. I read 2 books or I listen to 2 audiobooks and I'm done. Like, I've covered that cost, so it's very reasonable. It's a great service. It has not all the books ever, but it has enough for you to read in a month. It has some great new titles too. I don't know why I'm promoting it. They are not paying me for this. They don't even know I exist. But yeah, it's a great service. However, I have read this book. Now, coming back, I just want to show you the book again because I have distracted you with talk of the app. So let me just show you the book again. This was the book. Okay, so this is The Inheritance of Orquìdea Divina. It was a great book to begin with, but then it kind of lost its plot. But let me tell you what the book is about. It's about Orquìdea, who basically writes to all her family who are now spread out everywhere, and she's in this little town, and she like writes to all of them. This invitation that goes out says, come and collect your inheritance at this point. She gives them like a time, like a 3 o'clock or something like that, and she says, on this date at this time, come and pick up your inheritance, I'm dying. And she's lots of people's great-grandmother and grandmother and mother and all of that. She has this huge family, so everybody arrives at the stipulated time to collect their inheritance. And it's great because the premise is fantastic. It's a magic realism sort of genre, so there's a lot of magic in this book, but there's also this mystical aura that the story has, which was amazing. I was so intrigued in the beginning. I started it as an audiobook, and then I said, oh, you know what, I really want to read this. So I started reading it and I really enjoyed it up till I want to say like 3/4 of the book. At about the 3/4 point, the book quite literally lost the plot. Like, I don't know what was happening, the story. I was just like, wait, what just happened? This is not suspension of belief. This is just bizarre. Like, and it's weird and it's not holding my attention at all. And so I actually stopped reading it for a few months because I was just like, I'm not interested in this bizarreness. But then I was like, you know what, let me finish this book. I literally have like 100 pages or less than that left. So I went in and finished it. I have rounded off my rating at like 3.5 only because I really enjoyed the 3/4 of the book, and so I would say read it at your own peril if you're okay with being disappointed towards the end. But I don't know, it had such great potential. It just didn't live up to it. The last book that I read was also on my iPad. Like I said, I'm getting the bang out of my buck with this app, but this was the book. It's called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Very pacey, very fun. I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 4 on 5. This premise is a very simple premise. Somebody has gone missing like 5 years ago, presumed dead, and her boyfriend has been blamed for the murder, but the protagonist 5 years later believes that he didn't do it, that this guy who was blamed for it did not kill his girlfriend at the time. Her body is not found yet, so they can't really conclusively say that he did it, but he kills himself at some point, and so they can't really solve the murder. So the protagonist, her name is Pippa, she decides that she wants to go and investigate it again as part of some sort of last year of school project. And yeah, that's the whole story, that's the whole premise. And Pippa turns out to be an excellent detective, and so it's a really pacey, quick book. It's a thriller, it's a mystery. Some of it was a bit predictable, but it still was quite fun to read because I loved the protagonist. She was fun. There was some banter in there were some interesting plot twists. Every time I thought I saw what was coming, it changed, but that said, there was still some predictability in the book. So don't go in. I mean, look, here's the thing, we're in 2023, we've read enough thrillers. I feel like it's very, very hard to surprise an audience now without pulling a red herring or whatever, right? So I would say, like, yeah, I expect to be not surprised sometimes, but there are a lot of plot twists. It's very quick to read. It'll take you like a day, 2 days to finish it off, and it's very engaging. So I would definitely say read it. Like I said, I rated it a 4 on 5, a good book to read. Alright, so that was pretty much all of what I've read this month, and I will be coming back to you with more videos after this. I am going to do an art vlog very soon. That's going to be interesting. I have a bunch of like life updates which I will tell you in that vlog. I also want to do other book recommendations, especially for the season, because here in India, although it doesn't get cold and snow and all of that fun stuff, it is getting cozier. The day is getting shorter, not as much as it does in the West, but it does like get dark quicker, so there is a cozy moment, and therefore there is a cozy space for cozy books, and I will talk about that too soon. Until then, keep reading and come to my Instagram page and talk to me about what you've read, or we can talk here in the comments. And please like this video if you like it. It helps the algorithm as usual. And also subscribe if you are new to this channel. Subscribe. If you are not, then just like it. You know the whole, like, the marketing. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Bye.